around because I was working at Best Buy. I had some odd jobs. You know, I was doing different things, and so he said, yeah, getting by.
Yeah.
He said you need to get a job, and I said okay. So he hired me. He hired me to work with him. A year later, I met my girlfriend, now wife,
Mm-hmm.
and when I met her, she had a kid, and so the first thing was the only way this relationship is gonna work is if I include her child into our life, into my life, and that's the only way my relationship with my girlfriend at the time is gonna work. So now I have somebody I'm almost taking care of because we're real fresh, right? 8 months into the relationship, we moved in together.
It was only 8 months.
That's long, man.
Yeah. Nowadays it's long, I guess.
We moved in. It's like 3 months.
3 months?
Man.
Yeah.
And that was out of like happenstance.
But did you know each other before y'all met?
Yeah, we went to the same daycare together.
Okay.
But y'all like had a relationship.
Yeah,
before
but y'all
met?
knew each other before y'all met.
Before y'all started dating.
I didn't know Samantha when I met her.
You didn't know her from school.
I didn't know her from school. I had her friends and my friends were mutual friends.
A friend of a friend.
Yeah, and we met going out one day through a mutual friend.
I always wanted to ask, how did y'all meet? Because
And here it is.
I've never known that story.
So I had a friend that at the time, me and her were hanging out all the time. We were really good friends. She's a good friend of mine. And she's like, hey, let's go out to the Rebar. And so I said, all right, cool.
That's still the spot.
Classic.
Yeah, so
Classic.
we went, and this friend of mine, her friends, and my friends were mutual friends. And so Samantha was there with another group of people that we all knew.
Mm-hmm.
And we met, we started talking. Then I messaged her like the next day. I got her number. And then,
Because that's how
Hey,
it works. That is how it works.
I have to say, I'm surprised because Rhino used to be shy unless he was drunk.
yeah, with females, yeah.
With
I would say
females,
that,
he used to be
I
shy
was.
unless he was drunk.
Well,
So that
let
was
me say
pretty
this.
bold.
Let me say this,
Back
though.
up.
Let me say this. There was something about Samantha that
made
was
you comfortable.
comforting. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
There was something that was very comforting with her that I was like, man, I can talk to this girl like nothing, easy. I wasn't afraid to talk to her or speak my mind to her, and I'm still not. I mean, man,
Yeah.
you know, we clash sometimes too, but I'm not afraid to tell her how I feel about it, and she's not afraid to tell me either. Exactly. And so after I messaged her, we have not gone a day without speaking to each other. You know what I mean?
Are you serious?
We have never not
That's
gone a day without at least messaging, talking. Because I've worked out of town. You know, we've been separate because of business or whatever, not because of issues, but we've been, you know. I would work out of town for like 3 months at a time at
So,
one point.
what was the hardest part of y'all's relationship before marriage? Because I'm gonna ask you that again after marriage.
So before marriage, I would say our different difference of opinions on things. Number one, like how to raise a child. And
that's a big
and
thing.
let me tell you
a
something.
serious relationship.
Huge thing. Especially if you're coming in to the relationship.
Yes,
with the
I'm
kid.
coming in. So she had a child, right? Samantha had a child, and she had a wall. She had this wall up.
Yeah.
And she didn't break that wall or let me in until, man, maybe 4 or 5 years in, dude.
Yeah.
And so that was the hardest thing, was breaking that wall down to allow her to trust me to be a father to her daughter.
Yeah.
You know, I got that. I understood it.
It's understandable.
But at a certain point, I was like, man, when you just gonna let me be her dad? You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to take over her dad's spot, but she didn't have that guidance in her life either. And so I was ready to jump in. But there were things that she wouldn't let me do because she was real protective of her. And I'm just talking about, you know, particular things like how we were going to raise her or talk to her about certain issues and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, there were certain things that she
that
had a
felt
wall
like
on.
she had to take the
that
lead
she
on
had to do that, right?
Because that wasn't your responsibility.
Yes. But let me tell you something. Let me just tell my story. We all have different stories. We all do.
Go ahead.
But let me tell you something. The thing I loved about Samantha was that she did feel comfortable to ask me for help when she
When
needed
she
it.
needed it, yeah.
And if she needed help with Riley.
Yeah.
And I don't want to put her on blast or anything, but, you know, there was a time where she needed help with, like, paying for the daycare.
Yeah.
And we're only a few months into the... And she didn't want to ask me, but there was something on her mind. And I told her, I said, what do you need? Is there something wrong? I mean, I'll help you. What is
Yeah.
it? And she asked me straight up. She's like, man, I just need help paying for daycare, this and that. I said, oh, okay. Then I went the next day, I paid for it.
Yeah.
Whatever was owed and whatever was next week.
Yeah.
And that made me feel closer to her
Yeah.
because she just came out and she asked for help. She needed
She
help.
opened up.
She did.
She
It wasn't,
opened up.
and I'm not saying that she was desperate, that she used me or nothing like.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't like
wasn't
that at
that.
all. I
It
wanted,
was genuine.
yes,
It
I
was genuine.
wanted her to say, "Hey, man, I need some help. You know, we're in a relationship now, and this and that." And so as soon as we moved in together, everything was joined because that
How
was
long did it take for y'all to get into the relationship? Because, or did y'all move in and then the relationship was on?
no, we were. I think we already had a good relationship moving in. That's why we decided to move in together.
Yeah.
I was ready to move out. She was ready to move out. We were at that point in our lives,
Where it's time to
and
make
we
a
were
decision.
like, "Hey, why don't we do it together? That way we can help each other." So, and we were broke, dude. We were pretty broke. It was rough the first 2 years, but
Yeah.
we have good parents. Our parents helped us
Yeah.
out quite a bit. You know, my dad let me borrow his vehicle for a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
Samantha had one until we were able to buy our own vehicles.
Yeah.
So, like stuff like that, our parents were a big help. My dad and Samantha's mom, like every other weekend, was like, "Hey, come over and eat. We're gonna barbecue. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that."
Y'all still do that.
And we still do that.
Y'all
But
still do
even
that.
like her mom too was, very helping. Like, y'all need me to take y'all somewhere, or she
Yeah.
would take Riley somewhere. Our daughter, she would take
Yeah.
her somewhere. So they've always been a big help. But
It's always awesome to have those parents that are able to help and willing to
yeah,
help.
and it's a
Right.
blessing. I mean, even now, Samantha's mom and my mom, they're always there for our kids if we need anything.
Yeah.
They're still there. But yeah. So, anyways, going back to how the relationship worked.
Yeah.
So we moved in immediately, and you asked what the hardest part about it was. It was that wall that she had around her daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And when we finally broke that down, well, now, because there were things like you move in and, you leave the toothbrush on the sink or something
Yeah.
that she don't want, or
Yeah.
there's stuff like that when you move in that everybody's gonna go through.
Those minor adjustments.
Yeah.
That can cause a major.
It can.
George is over there laughing a lot, so like I feel
But
like he has.
You know what I'm
something
talking
to-
about.
So, what was the hardest part? The hardest part between you and Kat's relationship at the beginning?
Well, I mean, I understand you come in with one kid, but now we both came with one of our own.
Yeah,
into a
yeah.
relationship. So we had to go through the adjustment on both sides. And like my daughter was real quick to go to my wife now. And I was like, okay, I guess whatever. But at that time, I really wasn't living the best life either.
Yeah.
So I mean,
But that was the thing, man. We made it work.
yeah.
And we've been together for 9 years next month, married
9 years.
for 5, and marriage is hard, man. It's super hard.
I think that's why a lot of people just quit.
I think
because
it is.
I don't think it's supposed to be easy. Like to make that commitment to somebody for the rest of your
And-
life. I
and-
don't think that's supposed to be easy.
And my mom always said it, man. She said, "Don't ever go to bed mad at each other.
Yeah.
Like solve your problems before you go to bed."
Yeah.
And so me and Samantha have stuck to that, and that has been a blessing. We keep God at the center of our relationship, and here's the thing, man. And I was thinking about this today, and I was kind of hoping the opportunity would arise, but another aspect is your children, man.
Yeah.
And this is what my dad taught me. He didn't tell me this, but he showed me this. And the best way to take care of your children and raise your children is to feed them,
Mm-hmm.
play with them, and love them.
And love them.
And those are the 3 things that I do with my kids every day.
Yeah.
I feed them, I play with them, and I love them.
Yeah.
And I might feed them a certain way. I might give them scripture or something to talk about.
Yeah.
Or give them food like I do every day, but I feed them.
But
and
you
then I
do
play with them. I literally play with my
keep their
kids.
bodies and minds.
Yeah.
And you actually have physical activity.
Before I
of play.
came over here, I was in a fort with my daughter, and I was wrestling with my son in the fort. You know,
Hey,
and then you love them unconditionally,
yeah,
and that's something my dad and my mom showed me growing up.
yeah.
My mom is the definition of unconditional love.
Oh yeah.
I've failed so many times in my life, and my mom was right there after each failure saying, "Hey, we still love you. What do you need?"
To pick you up.
Exactly.
To pick you up.
And so that they showed me how to do that, and now I'm applying that to my children.
Yeah.
And not everybody. So we're going back to the first discussion about your thoughts. Not everybody gets that growing up. Somebody gets beat, and that controls their thoughts.
And that controls their
Or
thoughts.
somebody gets drugs stuck in them or something, and that controls their
Trauma.
thoughts.
Trauma.
There you go. Trauma.
And so like what I've learned is, first off, I'm gonna say this. I think a lot of people would benefit from therapy, right? Because all of us have some form of trauma.
We're
Right.
not therapists.
Yeah, no,
We're not
disclaimer,
therapists.
We're not. We're not that.
We're talking about our experiences, and how
Our
we
personal
handled it.
experiences. But I think like, because everybody doesn't have parents who are wise. Everybody
that's
doesn't
true.
have parents who are wise. Everybody doesn't have parents that can pass down this knowledge of how to function in life and even relationships and marriage. A lot of people don't know how to go about relationships. Period. Like a lot of people, when they hear something negative from somebody that they love or loves them,
Oh man.
they don't know how to take it because all they ever heard was negative comments growing up, especially in the black community, man. And I'm just speaking on personal experience. And no, I have an amazing family, but at times things got negative, like and it gets into your thoughts. Hearing something negative once, twice, 3 times, it's gonna stay there. It's gonna stick somewhere, right? And then you got to add negative teachers, because that is a thing.
That limiting factor.
That is a thing.
You can't do this because
It's-
why would you tell a child they can't do something?
Man,
That is the most
You're absolutely
Up to
right, but you know
say.
what you can do as a parent is tell your freaking kid, "Hey, tell them to kick rocks, man."
Yeah.
'Cause that-
you
that-
have to
you know
encourage your
what?
kids.
That's
you
what
have
my
to
dad.
build their.
That's what my dad told me. He said,
Nice.
"If they tell you you can't do it, then do it.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah.
Prove them wrong.
Do it better. Do it twice.
Prove them wrong, and you don't have to worry about it.
Mhm.
But a lot of kids don't have that guidance.
Well,
And let me
that's-
tell you
that's
something,
exactly
Jock.
what
Now
I'm saying.
that you brought that up,
Yeah,
and you're aware of that,
yeah.
now it's kind of on you to break those cycles.
Oh, yeah,
you know what I
definitely,
mean, or
definitely.
to teach to break those cycles.
And the thing is, I've already started, right? Communication is a big thing, especially
Huge thing.
in my family. Like, I don't feel like we know how to communicate properly, right? I think we have the best intentions for each other, but I don't think communication is there. So, and please bear with me, because when I first acknowledged this in my own head, something told me that it wasn't